Hi, this is Gary with G's Bees. I don't know about you, but the busiest time of year is when you run out of equipment. So that's where I'm at. I don't have any telescoping lids right now. I've got everything else, so I decided to build my own today out of some scraps that I had, and it's relatively easy to do. And I'll show you just a quick version of kind of how I do it. So I started off with some 2x4s and I just ripped them down, ripped them in half, made some 1x4s, made a box. The long parts of this are 21 3/4 for this part, 16 1/2 in between, and then the plywood is 1/2 inch plywood. I've used 3/8 before, I just had 1/2 inch. And this 1/2 inch plywood measures 18 here, 21 1/2 here. So you just build your box, staple your plywood on top. Then I've got some on the ground there, I've got some aluminum coil, which is 24 inches wide, and then it's a roll. So I take that 24 inches wide, I use the 24 inches wide, and I cut this 20 1/8. You could just a little more than 20 because you're 18 inches here. So you're gonna wanna fold however far you wanna fold it over. Some people like folding over further. I just fold it over to cover the plywood a little bit more. So you can go whatever you wanna go, but I just basically do 20 and just maybe 20 1/4, 20 1/2. And you just score that off with a razor blade and a straight edge, that wide width. And then if you'll take your ruler, most rulers are 1 inch wide, at least this one is, and if you can get one that's 1 inch wide, you can draw a line 1 inch wide all the way around. So I went ahead and drew the 1 inch wide all the way around, and it leaves your corners. So I like to fold these corners in on the short sides and then bend it into the long side, and the long side goes on the outside. So what I do with that, and I have a tool for that that works pretty good, or you can just take and cut this out, this corner out of this side, and I'll do that and I'll show you. So on your corners, if you can just take and cut this piece out just straight to the corner, you can bend that up, and then on that inside edge you can just take your and cut an angle, which you don't need these, you can do it just with a regular one, but this one's a little easier. Let me get lined up here, trying to hold this camera. Okay, so that cut an angle off of that so that when you go to bend it in, it'll bend square and it'll look a little nicer on your edges. But you can just cut that out with your 10 snips if you want to. So you're just gonna take and bend that. I have a brake, but it is in storage, so you can take a pair of these benders and just start real slow and bend that edge up just a little at a time. And then once you get it bent on the crease, then you can take it and bend it down on a piece of plywood all the way, which I'll show you one that I've already done. So this is what it's going to look like when you're done. It's not perfect corners, but when you go to staple it and you put it on, you can pull it down and staple as close as you can to the edge, this edge here, and it'll really pull that in tight. So this is kind of what it looks like when you're done and you folded that edge underneath on the inside and stapled that all the way down. That staple didn't come out too good. But anyway, that's what it looks like. It's fairly tight. And I go ahead and paint that box before I start. I don't paint the top, but I just paint the sides and the bottom. And that way, if you did have a little bit of rain come into this edge or weep in anywhere, you've got a protected surface. So anyway, real easy to make. You make it out of scrap. Like I say, just rip your 2x4 in half. In fact, these 2x4s came off a concrete job, so you can tell they're a little rough on concrete, but they work out okay after you paint it. And it all works out okay in the end. So anyway, that's a pretty easy way to make you a telescoping lid. And I appreciate a like and subscribe, and appreciate you watching. Thank you.